Okay, today I want to share with you my new perspective on self-image and just my new understanding of that, my deeper understanding of it for me. And my point of sharing this is I'm hoping to help you just feel better about the past and help give you a way to release the past once and for all, past mistakes that you made, any negative thought when you think about it, whether it's the house you lived in, the car your parents drove, what you did or didn't have, whatever circumstances from your past experiences that when you think about it, it's unpleasant to identify with, just to release that, to just accept and move on. And then also to help you maybe make some different choices in the future, and not not that you will necessarily make better choices because the ones that you made are wrong. They're not. They're perfect. Everything you've done to this moment is perfect. You watching this is perfect because everything's unfolding the way it's supposed to. Okay. But more so that you don't carry unnecessary guilt and shame and just confusion and unworthiness around for the rest of your experiences in life, because they say that there's no bad choices, there's no mistakes being made, there's nothing bad. And yes, there's a truth if you want to just really dig deep and unpack that and unwad that. But that's hard for the human mind to understand when you feel like you did make a mistake. Like if you cheated on someone in the past, if you were impatient with your kids this morning, if you didn't give your best at work one day, if you possibly got fired, if you dropped the ball on an assignment, whatever it is, right? Didn't turn a college paper in on time and it cost you the semester, you had to redo the whole semester in the past, whatever it is, right? You need to know that what you're experiencing, that's your life and your life choices, and whatever choice you made in the past, just know that you made it because essentially you did the best you could with what you had in the moment. And I'm not saying had as in material or finances. I'm talking about like with the information you had, and the information most certainly includes the emotions that you had at that time when you made that decision. So if you didn't turn your paper in time and it cost you a whole semester, well, what led up to that? Like where you go. For me, for example, I had gone through a super crazy toxic relationship, and I did end up having to take an extra thing of summer classes, which did cost me money because I did put myself through college. But at the end of the day, dude, I have to give myself grace and give myself forgiveness and understand those choices were made with the information I had. And that includes did I know what was best for me at that time? What in the perfect world, ideal world would be to turn the paper in on time and not have to redo a college semester? Of course, of course. Can I say that now and condemn myself and judge myself for the past? No, because I'm not there. I'm not in that relationship. I'm not in that place maturity wise. I'm not in that place at all with that same job, with those same responsibilities. My responsibilities have completely changed. My emotional intelligence has completely changed. Everything's changed. Everything's is always evolving in life, right? So that's the first thing that I want to say is when you look back, understand that your self-image and your understanding of life right now is different than even yesterday to an extent, if you let it be, if you reflect and let it be. But also when you think of the things in the past, listen, if you think of a happy thought that doesn't make you feel good, you can't look back. If you experienced poverty, if you experienced abuse, if you experienced things such as any contrast in your past that you just simply can't make right in your head, nobody's asking you to. There's certain things that's never going to be okay. It's not okay. It's not okay if you were sexually abused. It's not okay if you were physically abused. It's not okay if you went hungry as a child. That's not okay. However, we move forward from it. We move forward and we understand that that's just life experience. That's not who you are. That's not who you need to identify with. That's not what you need to bring up or talk about anymore. Don't reactivate those feelings. Don't reactivate those feelings of lack and scarcity. Don't reactivate those feelings of vulnerability and fear and powerlessness. Don't do that. Do not do that, okay? Also, I will speak for myself now, and I was then too, but as for me, my new filter and my new basis moving forward on my self-image and the criteria in which I judge myself will be completely different. And this is why. I've always believed that it was almost as if God had a scorecard. Once I understood God and like was old, as soon as I was old enough to understand God, I grew up in the church. It was just under the belief that, understanding that God essentially had a scorecard of my life, right? Like the good, the things I do good, the things I do bad, right? And that when I do good, God's proud of me. Mark in the good column. Good things will come to me. Good, 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 right? I have to do something good to receive something good, right? Whereas if I do something bad, God sees that and God judges that. Now, if I ask for forgiveness, maybe, if I do, I have 4 marks, things bad in the bad column. If I ask for forgiveness, he'll erase one. Or sometimes I felt, not that this was really communicated, but my belief was that, okay, if I got these 5 bad things, if I do some extra good over here, like walk an old lady across the street, this is my belief, walk an old lady across the street, or do some extra chores, or whatever it is, that, maybe this will start taking some of this away. God will see that. God will see that I'm a good person and not send me to hell, right? They always say that on Judgment Day, we'll all have to account for our sins. Essentially, hey, there's a running tally on what you're doing wrong in life, and that you need to prove that you're worthy to get into heaven. So essentially you do have something to prove. Absolutely. This whole time while you're breathing oxygen on earth, you have something to prove, and everything good that comes to you isn't because of you. It's just because of this external person who was willing to give it to you because you did something good. And most importantly, because you're not doing bad, because we don't expect you to be perfect, but we do though. We expect you to get as close to it as possible. Oh, and here's a playbook to go by, right? From 2,000 years ago, and with rules that completely don't apply to society today, right? And also all those were translations, interpretations that have been handed down from multiple different languages, different time periods, different people of power who had economical gain to bear, to receive from the guidelines, right, in the rule book, right? Like, but that's absolutely the way it's supposed to be. That's how it is no matter what. And anything you do outside of this, anything you do, and don't question it either. You don't question God. Don't question him. You can't question him. If you question him, he'll take what little good you have away. And it's going to put marks over here. And also, if you don't question him, you go to hell. Right? That was my understanding. Turns out, I don't believe that way anymore. I don't believe that way anymore. There's a lot in the Bible that I do believe. There's a lot from the essence and the meaning of some of those parables that were taught to me, some of those beliefs that were taught to me, that I do believe, and that there is some good in there. I just have given myself permission to extract what I want from it, and I choose by what sits well with me, what makes me feel good. I'm not saying I only pick and choose and write it the way that fits my life. I'm not saying that. There is right and wrong. I do believe that. There is right and wrong. However, what I'm saying is there's some things that are in there that just contradict themselves, and there's some things that just don't apply to society today. They don't apply to the time in which this time space reality that I'm Jennifer Cherie Litchfield is living my life, and that's okay. And I'm allowed to question that. I'm so sick and tired and will no longer allow anyone, any organized religion, anyone, my great aunt or uncle that grew up in the church that I grew up in, hell, even my mom, I love her so much. And there's so many things that we agree upon, but there's some things we just flat out don't anymore. And that's okay. I'm not trying to change her belief system. I'm not trying to change yours. If it's working for you, go for it. But if you have been made to feel bad about yourself for being gay, for having sex before marriage, for having a kid out of wedlock, for anything, hell, for anything, then, and if you don't, then all I'm saying is you need to establish your own relationship with your higher power, because at the end of the day, that's whatever you believe in that's bigger than you is where you are truly filtering your self-image through. That's what you're truly filtering through. And then you combine that with being a human, being a person, and you do want to coexist with people, you do want to get along with people, you do want people to like you and accept you and love you, and you do want to have good relationships. That's why we're all here, is to grow and love and uplift one another, and to grow through the contrast, right? Like, you do want to get along with people, you do want ease and flow in your life. But if you feel like you're not a good person, if you feel like you've done something unforgivable, if you feel like you just have so many strikes in the bad column that you can't catch up. Like, you're never going to catch up to that and win the race. You're never going to win the race of life, of trying to prove your worthiness because of the things you've done in the past. Then, hey, I'm here to tell you, I don't believe that that's what you need to be doing anyways. I don't think that it's a proving is why we're here. I don't think that at all. I also don't think that there's a hell. I know you're like, oh my God. And truly, like, I battled with that because, hey, I dated some assholes. And hey, there's some people that I just really was kind of hoping that they were in hell. And I know that's bad. That sounds bad to say out loud, but I mean, they did some bad things to people I really love. But then I heard someone say, they were asking about Saddam Hussein. All right, this is going to get heavy. And they said that, if there's not a hell, if it doesn't exist, if God, source energy, love, the universe, if it's all forgiving, that at the end of the day, when we all die, you're going to experience that positive love energy, liquid love feeling, then what about people like that? What about Hitler? What about them? Do they get to experience that too? And the answer was yes. And it's almost like, in one breath, you almost want to, like, it's almost irritating, because if you're here trying to do the right thing, especially if you're like grounded deep into organized religion, you definitely don't want to hear that, because you're only taught sacrifice to get to something better, where I believe everything's here and now. We came here. This is where it's happening. We are extension of God. We are extension of God. I don't think Jesus is coming back, and I don't think that there's going to be hell on earth. I think that hell is within, just like the kingdom of heaven is within. Truly, I believe that. I believe that you create your own reality. You create your own truth. You create your own belief systems, because the belief's just a thought you continue to think over and over. That's a belief. And that's why it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go, because you come into life, and whether your parents were good or bad, whomever, you're very impressionable at a young age. And you're trying to survive too. You got the human instinct of survival. And so you're going to adapt and adjust, and you don't know what you don't know until you gain more life experience. Well, now I've gained more life experience. Now I've allowed my just natural curiosity for life and understanding, because I experienced some things in my childhood that I did not want. I did not like. I knew at a very young age that I wanted more. I wanted more. I had nothing but love. I had a loving mom, loving dad. They divorced young, and we grew up in poverty. I always knew I wanted more, and I always knew that was okay, that it wasn't vanity, that it wasn't materialism. It was, I wanted it because I effing wanted it. I wanted it because I wanted it. And sure, as a teenager, it does turn into you just want to fit in with the cool kids, maybe wear a certain brand or whatever. But then that extended into my adulthood though. And that's really and then I just started making my own money since I was 15. I had 2 jobs, and I was like, I don't want to hear anyone's mouth about what I spend on my clothes, my car, my things, my hair, my anything. So I'll just make my own money, because if I make my own money, then one, I get to control what I get to experience, the vacations I go on, or the lack thereof, because it was only the lack thereof as a child. So if I make it for myself, then I don't have to listen to your mouth, and I don't have to not get to do those things that I want. And I don't have to listen to your mouth telling me that it's materialism or vanity. Because what I believe now is that everything is happening here now, and that God is available and is here now, and he's within, and we're an extension of him. And I think that instead of having to ask God for forgiveness and so that you can like feel worthy again, like it's something you could have lost, I believe that God's love, grace, well-being, all the resources that you ever would need to create anything and have anything and experience anything that you want is available. I think that's forever flowing. And in the Bible, it says, ask and you shall receive, knock and the door will be opened. I believe truth to that. But what I wish I was told, and what I want to tell you now, and what I'll tell my girls is, sometimes you're asking without saying the words. You intrinsically are asking for your well-being. You're asking for more prosperity. You're asking for more love and for more respect. You're asking for things to be different. You don't need to verbalize those. I always felt like if I didn't ask for forgiveness after I messed up, that, I used to worry like, well, I used a cuss word or I told a white lie. I sure hope a car doesn't run over me before I can ask for forgiveness, because when I die, I go up and God's going to have this white Bible and it's going to be like, oh, Jen you almost made it. Like, you almost made it. It's like, damn, if I just if I could have asked for forgiveness before I got ran over, all that work for nothing. That doesn't make sense, y'all. That doesn't make sense. And now I'm like, this is why it doesn't make sense. It's a forever flowing valve that's open to you of forgiveness. Not even forgiveness, of grace. Grace is the opposite of forgiveness. To extend grace is essentially to give someone the feeling of it being okay for whatever they've done to you without making them ask you for forgiveness. That's what I believe God gives you. That's God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. That's what I believe is forever flowing to us. The forgiveness is not needed. You don't need to, or the asking of the forgiveness, I don't believe is needed. Not to God anyway. What you need to do is ask yourself forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. You don't need to win God's love or earn God's love. It's forever flowing. You need to love yourself. You need to accept yourself. You need to encourage yourself and respect yourself and be yourself. Because doing that opens that valve of worthiness and love and acceptance and respect, all the things that every human wants. And you want them, you intrinsically know, because you intrinsically know where you came from. All of us, we came from pure positive energy. We came from God. We came from the universe. That's all that. It's only well-being where we all came from. And it's only well-being where we all go, because we're all going to die one day. So we have the choice to accept that. It doesn't matter your family, or it doesn't matter what you had. Doesn't matter what you've done. Doesn't matter the mistakes you made. Doesn't matter what you could or should you feel like you should be doing right now besides watching this video. Let that go. Let that go. Everything's perfect as it is, and everything is right as it is. And the sooner you can just accept that, and accept that you have nothing to prove, you just have everything to create, and that there's not someone out there divvying out goods to everyone based off their behavior. That's not how it is. There's infinite supply of love, goodness, wealth, health, right? That's a hot trending word right now because of everything going on. It's infinite. You simply got to tap into it. You got to choose to let it in. You get what you think about. you get what you think about. If you are only replaying the mistakes you've made in your head, you will get more of that feeling. You will then, not that you are being, you will cut yourself off from the goodness that you can experience in this life. No one's not passing it to you any longer. You cut yourself off. You pinch yourself off from the endless flowing supply of love to yourself. Therefore, you can't even though people are loving you with all their heart, people say, I can't love you unless you let me. My understanding is not that. You can love someone. There's people I love with all my heart right now. And I know that there's more out there for them and that they deserve better than the current situation experience that they're in. But that I can't know that for them. That's what people mean when they say, I can't love you if you don't let me. You can love them. It's not until you love yourself that you open that valve up. You got to love yourself to allow others to love you. Most importantly, you got to love yourself and understand that love is flowing to you and through you. But listen to the first part. I kind of forgot about this part. I was always so worried about being positive and uplifting to others that I forgot sometimes. I forget sometimes. I have to remind myself that, oh, these words that I'm saying are applied to me first and foremost. Love is flowing to me. Well-being is flowing to me. Goodness is flowing to me first and foremost, and then through me. And then through me. And when you're taught that it's bad, you're selfish, and you're taught that when you only think of yourself, and you're taught that when you're taught that that you're supposed to take care of yourself, but you're also supposed to sacrifice, and that sacrifice is good, that I need to sacrifice now to get something good later. If you think that way, you're missing the point of here. You're missing out. You're essentially missing out, and you're judging the hell out of yourself for no reason. And I want you to try and remove that lens. And when you can accept that there's love flowing to you, God's loving you, not loved. You're not loved. It's not past tense, it's currently. God's loving you when your hair's dirty. God's loving you when your bed's not made. God's loving you when your bank account's negative. He's respecting you when your bank account's negative. He's respecting you when you eat a donut, when you know you should be running. He doesn't even, in my opinion, he doesn't even see those things. He doesn't even see those things. He cannot but help but see you to be whole as you are, your well-being whole. As a person, if you think about it, in the Bible, they say Jesus was able to heal people. And I believe that was because he was so aligned with God, with the universe, whatever, with absolute positive well-being, that when people came to him dripping with illness, he didn't see them as ill. He saw them as whole. He saw them as completely healthy. He saw them as able to walk, able to see, able to be disease-free, such as leprosy. He didn't see them in their incompleteness. And let that sink in. First of all, how loving is that? When you feel so self-conscious about something, whether it be the money you have, or your looks, or your weight, or which is looks, right? Or the car you drive, just feeling less than about any subject at all. And when you are with someone in their presence and you have a conversation with them, they don't see that. They don't bring it up. They don't talk about it. And in fact, when you go to talk about it, they don't even let you go there. They're like, I'm sorry, I can't see you as incomplete. I can't see you as less than. I'm going to hold you to this standard. This is how I see you. And I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to go there, because I know you're capable. I know you're worthy. I know you're more than just that behavior. I know you're more than just that mistake. I know you're more than just that job title, that marriage, that divorce, right? That situation with your kids, whatever it is. That's true love. That's unconditional love. That's what that is. And they tell us they teach and preach to love unconditionally, to turn the cheek. But they never tell us to turn the cheek on ourselves. What does turn the cheek mean? Turn the cheek means to not see someone, not allow that person to take you out of your alignment with love. Love of yourself, respect of yourself, respect for you, love for you, not God, love for yourself. Because if you retaliate to someone, if you react a certain way, if you lose your patience, and that's not who you are, because that's not who you are, and you feel that shame, that guilt, that resentment of yourself, that's why you turn the other cheek. That's why you don't go there with people. That's why the fight's not worth your time. That's why it's willful blindness. That's why. Because when you go there, when you start a war, you can't help but add resistance to your life, and you can't help but pinch yourself off from the goodness flowing to you. That's the problem. So when you band together with other people that are bitching about something, you band together with other people that are judging other moms, if you will, or judging other couples and their how much sex they're having, whatever it is. When you do that, that's not really who you are. And that's that feeling that you feel inside, is that your disconnect with you and who you really are. And you can say, and people want to say you and your disconnect from God, but what I want to say, and my understanding is now I now place that on myself. That's my disconnect from me and me, who I really am. Because who I really am is an extension of God. And so then it's like the next step is, if you're an extension of God, we're all here. We are God. You are God. And it's like, oh, wait, she thinks she's God. I'm God to myself. I'm God to myself. You must be God to yourself. And if you can do that, if you can worry about yourself first, and your well-being first, your mindset first, your positivity first, your love first, if you can get right with yourself, oh my God, once you do that, anybody that you hold as the focus of your attention, your kids, your spouse, your job, your task, this cup of tea, whatever it is, the benefits that they will experience from simply you being in alignment with you, it's unimaginable. It's unimaginable. That's when you have the best sex. That's when you have the best time with your kids. That's when you have the best conversations and the best connections. That's when you're in flow with your job. Words are just flowing. You're articulating things better than you ever have before. Deeper understanding. You're almost like, who was that? Like, you say a sentence, you're like, who was that? Ooh, that was good. Right? Or the words are numbers are just clicking on your page. Phone calls are flowing. Clients are feeling understood and valued. You're feeling valued and understood. But all that came first from yourself. Like, set yourself up for success. Go within and filter through that lens. Filter through the lens of, I have nothing to prove. I am loved, respect. I am the focus of someone's attention, that their attention is never taken off of me. My well-being is their utmost importance, right? You are so important, always, always. And then next, there's nothing you can do to remove that. And until you can line up with that truth of knowing where you really came from, who you really are, and who really made you, who really has the say so at the end of the day, until you can line up with that same opinion, because it's there and it's forever going. It's forever there. And it can't not be there. Your well-being abounds. And this is how you can know that, because that opinion is never going to change. You being the focus of that attention is never going to change. And you'll know that because when you look at something you don't like and you feel bad, or when you think of something about yourself and you feel like it's not good enough, that feeling of sadness or frustration or grief or anger or resentment or lack of, that's the distance between you and who you really are. That's the distance between you and God. That's the distance. But it's not because God's judging you. It's because you're not allowing yourself to feel good, because you are good. You're not allowing yourself to feel loved or worthy, because that's his opinion. That's his opinion always. That doesn't change. It's unwavering. Never can be forsaken. Can never be taken away. Never is changing. Never judgment. No judgment. The judgment is your well-being abounds only That's it. In my opinion now, in my belief, that's my belief. That's God's judgment on me, is that I am to thrive and live everything I came here to live. And it's not preset. There's not a preset determination or limit on what goodness my life can bring or what expansion I can do here while I'm here. That I don't believe that to be true. I believe we all came here with intentions, and the intention was to uplift one another. That, and to experience things, experience in this body, right? But it's not a stagnant universe. Think about it. That we went from riding wild horses to now we have cars that drive themselves. So how would that make sense to think that this world isn't evolving, that it's a fixed thing, and that God's coming back? So what do we do? And that Jesus is coming back to judge us in his doomsday. So let me ask you, what does that even mean? Why would someone put a period at the end of that? Because one, I believe it was made up. Two is because then it's a constant control. There's a never ending. It says that God's going to come like a thief in the night. And so it means the threat there is to always be perfect, to always be good, to always be apologizing for everything you always do. So essentially, always be affirming to yourself how imperfect you are, how far from being godlike that you are. What? That doesn't make sense. And that they couldn't put a timestamp on when that was coming because they didn't know it. Because it wasn't true. However, you perpetuate the cycle and the extension of that message, and people live in fear. You live in fear because you don't want to go to hell. And then there's enough truth wrapped up in those beliefs that some of it resonates true. Like even with me, there's some of the Bible that resonates so true. I do believe that there is an external, I do believe in God. I just have allowed myself the permission to redefine that relationship, redefine his opinion of me, redefine the rules and the boundaries in which that I'm going to live my life, and that all those rules will come from within and not without. And that must be okay. That must be okay. And I'm not here to argue or change people's beliefs. I don't want to do that, because if it's working for you, there's so much good and so much alignment that goes on in churches and organized religions that I would never even want to even spread that message, because it does give people a lot of hope. It does pick people out of despair. I love that. They don't feel judged. They feel good, and that's good. I just got to a place where some of those beliefs didn't sit well with me anymore. It just it didn't make sense to me anymore. I just couldn't stop questioning it, and it just didn't add up. And that's okay. And I'm not saying I know the full truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying don't believe me. Find out for yourself. Don't believe me. I'm just saying question things. And I'm not saying question things in like charge people up. I'm saying go within, start questioning things, meditate, and answers will come to you. And I'm not weird like you're going to levitate, out of body experience. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying you will come to some truths that come from within. You will receive thoughts. You will receive thoughts from your inner being. You will receive thoughts from your highest good and from where you really came from. And I do believe it's God. I truly do believe that. But I do believe that we all came from there. And I do believe that we're all going to go back there. That's the difference. That's the main difference between my belief system growing up and now is I no longer fear death. And the reason is I don't fear it because the fear is that I wasn't good enough. Did I ask for forgiveness enough? Did I truly, believe enough in my heart? It felt like I accepted God in as my savior, but now I'm like, we didn't need saving. We didn't need saving. It's like that, what that is like that. I believe that message was let it in as in just allow yourself to know that well-being is flowing to you. I think that's the purpose that the Bible serves, is that there is hope outside of what you physically see. there is hope. There must be, because everything's a thought prior to it being a thing. Everything you see, this computer, your phone, if you're watching from a phone screen, this blanket, this couch, everything was a thought before it was actually a manifestation. Everything. And so I do believe that there was purpose in that, but I think the purpose was just to give people hope, to give people hope to see and know that their well-being abounds past just what they see and currently have and are currently experiencing, that there is more out there and that there is someone out there that wants the best for them. I do believe that. But what I'm saying is that someone is coming from inside of you, and that it's not something that is what some people get it and some people don't. All of us are receiving that well-being flow. It's just simply, are you pinched off or not? Is your self-image healthy and in good standing, meaning good standing with yourself, not with God, but with yourself? And how good does that feel just to even release that one extra layer of judgment? Like, you feel good about yourself, but then you're being told that God condemns that act or that behavior. Well, that's confusing. I mean, isn't that confusing? You know, like, to be told that what you want isn't right for you. Like, what? Because it's not, like, hang on a second. Like, that doesn't make sense. Then who gets to answer that question then? And you're taught that it's someone else knows best. You don't know. Someone else knows best. They've been ordained. They're of authority. They know what's best because someone else said so, and then someone else validated. Listen, validate yourself. External validation does you no good. It can kind of soothe you along and keep you from going lower in yourself, because we do care about it's natural to want for people to like you. But yes, there is such thing as taking someone when they're down, and there is such thing as upliftment. However, at the end of the day, you can't put stumbling blocks in other people's path. I don't believe that any longer. I don't believe anybody needs saving. I don't believe that you need to ask for forgiveness from God. I think that it's forever flowing to you. Grace is forever flowing to you. Every mistake you've made and every mistake you will make, because you will make it, because you're human. If you're breathing oxygen, you're going to make a mistake. It's how it is. It's how it is, people. You don't have to constantly, all day, every day, forgive yourself. I used to forgive myself for not praying before I ate. Like, literally, I'd be like, oh, sorry, Jesus, thank you for this food, my dad. Like, I am thankful for the food, and I don't need to forgive if I took a bite of a damn roll before. Like, I don't need to beat myself up. Is that not a form of beating myself up? Is that a form of a trigger to opportunity and a trigger in place before I eat to express gratitude and appreciate? That's good. But if I'm doing it to not go to hell, that's not right. That's not doing anybody any good. Okay? You're not going to let God down. You can't get it wrong. You can't get life wrong, and you can never get it finished. We're going to be here and ongoing forever. Your well-being abounds. You need to feel good about yourself, and you need to feel good about yourself now. You need to forgive yourself. You don't need to ask God for forgiveness. He forgives you. You need to forgive yourself, and you need to forgive yourself now. You need to feel good and worthy of yourself. Let yourself accept its worthiness. Let yourself align with respect and truth and acceptance. And you need to do it now. Don't wait there's no external being, entity that needs to extend it to you. So that is my new perspective on self-image. I hope it helps you. I hope it releases some guilt, and I just hope that it helps you move forward with like a breath of fresh air, a weight off your shoulders. There's not a good and bad tally mark column. It's infinite good. You're infinitely good. And there's nobody over here erasing the bad. There's not a bad column. He doesn't keep score. He's not judging you. There's no bad column. There's just infinitely good columns. And then you get to just create the experiences and the vacations and the relationships that you want to. And you'll have a better chance doing that knowing that you deserve them. Okay? Bye.